Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that a single family has influenced the course of history for over 2 centuries. Wars, revolutions, economic crashes, all shaped, directly or indirectly, by their wealth, strategy, and secret. Sounds like the plot of a Hollywood thriller, right? But this isn't fiction. This is the story of the Rothschilds, a dynasty so powerful that their name alone sends chills down the spine of world leaders and bankers alike. Let's rewind to 18th century Frankfurt, Germany. The world was very different back then. No internet, no stock markets as we know them, just raw economic power controlled by a handful of elite. In the heart of the Jewish ghetto, a man named Mayer Amschel Rothschild started what would become the most influential banking empire in human history. But let's be honest, if you saw Mayer Amschel on the streets back then, you wouldn't have given him a second look. Humble beginnings? That would be an understatement. The man dealt in coins and antiques, scraping by like thousands of other merchants. But unlike the rest, he had something they didn't, an almost supernatural ability to predict financial trends. Mayer didn't just collect wealth. He built a system so effective that it would eventually outmaneuver entire governments. His secret? Family. He raised 5 sons and sent them across Europe, London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, and Frankfurt, each establishing banking networks in the most powerful cities of the time. You see, Mayer wasn't playing chess. He was inventing the game itself. Information was everything, and the Rothschilds had it first. With their sophisticated communication networks, essentially the world's first private financial intelligence agency, they knew about market movements before kings did. Let that sink in for a moment. Here's where things get eerie. It was 1815, and Napoleon Bonaparte was rampaging through Europe. The outcome of the Battle of Waterloo would decide the fate of an empire. While the world held its breath, Nathan Rothschild, Mayer's son stationed in London, was already a step ahead. He had spies at the battlefront. The moment Napoleon lost, Nathan received the news before the British government did. And here's where things get borderline cinematic. He walked into the London Stock Exchange, expressionless, and started selling off British bonds. The traders panicked, assuming Britain had lost. Prices plummeted. Then, in the blink of an eye, Nathan's agents bought everything at rock-bottom prices. When official news of victory arrived, the market skyrocketed, making the Rothschilds richer than entire nations overnight. Do you feel that? That unsettling mix of admiration and fear? Yeah, you should. At this point, you're probably wondering, where can I get my own army of financial spies? Sorry, but unless you have a few centuries and a couple of $1 billion to spare, you're out of luck. But here's the thing, money alone wasn't their greatest weapon. Influence was. Governments borrowed from them, kings sought their counsel, and revolutions couldn't start without their financing. Take the American Civil War, for example. It's rumored that the Rothschilds backed both sides, ensuring they profited no matter the outcome. Sounds ruthless? Well, in the world of power, morality is often a luxury. By the late 19th century, the Rothschilds were the undisputed rulers of global finance. Their banks dictated the flow of money across Europe and beyond. Even the mighty British Empire, at its peak, leaned on Rothschild funding to expand. They weren't just bankers. They were the invisible architects of modern economics. But then, something strange happened. A family so dominant, so omnipresent, suddenly faded from public view. No more headlines, no more open displays of power. It's as if they vanished into the shadows, orchestrating from behind the curtain. Conspiracy theories exploded. Some claim they control the Federal Reserve, others say they engineered world wars for profit. The truth? Well, that's a rabbit hole you might not want to go down alone. Don't worry, we'll hold your hand as we plunge into financial paranoia together. Today, the name Rothschild still carries an aura of mystique. Their fortune, though no longer publicly disclosed, is estimated in the hundreds of billions. But the real power isn't in their wealth, it's in the systems they built. Modern banking, corporate influence, political funding, all trace back to the methodologies they pioneered. Even now, their descendants quietly hold stakes in some of the world's most influential financial institutions. They no longer need to be in the limelight. They wrote the rules, and the world still plays by them. And if you think this story ends here, think again. Because what happens when the most powerful family in history starts investing in industries beyond banking? Energy, technology, pharmaceuticals. The Rothschild name might not be on the surface, but their influence lingers in the deepest corridors of these industries. Some even whisper that their descendants are behind the push for artificial intelligence and the digitization of global economies. Sound crazy? Maybe. But consider this. History has shown that those who control the flow of money often control the future. Some researchers believe the Rothschilds have embedded their power into the very framework of international organizations, central banks, IMF, World Bank, and even the United Nations. Their ability to operate behind closed doors, influencing policies and dictating economic directions, keeps their legacy intact. The modern world thrives on data and technology, and with deep pockets, one can control not just governments but entire industries. AI, robotics, biotech. These are the new frontiers. If history tells us anything, it's that wealth doesn't just disappear. It evolves, adapts, and finds new avenues to maintain influence. So, the next time you hear about an economic crash, a sudden rise in inflation, or a war seemingly driven by financial motives, ask yourself, who really benefits? Who really pulls the strings? And if you ever find the answer, well, let's just say you might not want to say it out loud.